All right, all right. Hello, everybody. Just trying to adjust my camera here. Okay. It's about 9:59. I see Ernestine Murray has joined us. Welcome. All right. Quite a few people here. Okay, Natalia. Hi, Natalia. Welcome, everybody. Christina, welcome. Ivy, welcome. Gina, Hicklin, as always. Welcome. Hey, all right. It is 10 o'clock, and I see Yvette just jumped on. CJ McFarlane. Okay, Dr. Imani, welcome. Hello, Gina. Hello, Dr. Imani. Somebody says, hi, pretty. Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you. Hello, all, and Tamia. All right. Awesome. We want to go ahead and get started tonight. Hopefully, you've already gotten prepared. You have pen and you have paper because you may want to take some notes tonight. Because although this conversation may not be for you, you may know somebody who could literally use this information. And you may want to send out, a tag or two to somebody who may be just getting started in our industry, and they may be interested in knowing how to close the sale. How do we close the sale? My sponsor talks about it all the time. People go out, they do meetings, they do demos. I mean, they just do the doggone thing. They just talk for 2 hours, 3 hours. And then they leave empty-handed. So you go, you build value, and then you leave with nothing. You didn't even offer the person because you automatically assumed that they would not purchase anyway. And a lot of times that happens because we are not sold on the product ourselves. We're not sold on the concept ourselves. We're not sold on the idea ourselves. So if you're not, then it's going to be hard to convince somebody else about something that you have not even been convinced about yourself. So hopefully you've gotten that pen, you got some paper, and hopefully you got your tea here. I got mine. So we're going to talk tonight about the close. How do I close the sale? And I know many of you are joining us from different backgrounds. We have some folk on here that's in real estate. We have some other folk on here that may be life coaches. We have some folk on here from Enagic. I know a lot of my Enagic family is here. That is my company of choice. However, I don't knock anybody's deal. Whatever it is that you're doing to help you and your family to make it on this journey, hey, hats off to you. I salute you. And I congratulate you too. So let's get right into it. I actually put together a list of, about 26, 27 things. As I thought to myself, wow, Tamia, my ratio for closing has gotten really, really good over the past 30 years. I would hope so, wouldn't you? I mean, after being in this industry for almost 30 years, full-time for 25 years, I've learned some things along the way. And I just want to share those things with you tonight. And so hopefully you will get something out of this as I really poured my heart into this particular session tonight. The first thing that you have to do, especially when you are sitting down with someone, it's not even at the end of the presentation. I'm talking about from the beginning. The first thing that you must do is you must start closing with the end in mind. You don't wait until the end of the presentation, until the end of the story to actually ask for the sale. Okay? You want to start closing with the end in mind. But there's a way to do this. And what I came up with is you got to first lead the sales process. You have to take charge. And when I say take charge, I don't mean to be bossy. to be aggressive, because, you know, most people, when they sit down with you to even allow you to present whatever it is you're presenting to them, they already know that you're there to sell them something. Most people don't come to do a 1 hour, 2 hour presentation, or most people don't go out showing people houses because they want to give them a house, or they want to give them what it is that they're presenting to them. No, they know that you're there for that. So because they know that you're there for that, it is okay for you to lead the process. So what I mean by that is, sometimes we allow the client or the prospect to actually control the conversation. And when they control the conversation, they literally control it from beginning to end. That's the reason why you want to start from the beginning, leading the process. Okay? I've learned that over the years. You know, sometimes you don't want to be, you know, aggressive. And I said it's not good to be, well, I should say overly aggressive, but you don't want to be to the point where people have just, they just shut down. They don't hear anything else you're saying because they're watching your mannerisms. You know, they're listening at your tonality, and they're saying to themselves, you know, I just really don't want to do business with this person. However, what I've learned over the years is that when I sit down with someone and I am confident about what it is that I'm talking about, it's easy to lead the process. However, when I was brand new, first talking about a service or a product, it was very difficult. You know, that person would ask questions that I did not understand. I didn't have the answers to. And it would make me feel a bit uncomfortable because I would feel like, hey, I should know the answer to that. But the truth of the matter is, in our industry, you're not going to know everything from day one. You know, so you will earn while you learn. And that's the reason why we have what we like to refer to as support line. Some people refer to it as upline. You know, I know when I first got started with Enagic, I referred everyone to my sponsor, Anna Wilshire. You know, I just pointed them in the direction. And then sometimes I go, sometimes I wouldn't go. But the more times I went, the more I learned. I watched what she did. I heard what she said, okay, and the way that she said it and the way that she did it. And then I just started to copy what she was doing. And then I turned it into my own. I added my personality to the teachings. And as a result, ta-da, this is what you get today. So that's number one, okay? The first thing that I wanted to kind of throw out there at you. The next thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you do a little bit of research. You want to be prepared. You want to be prepared as much as you can. Now, do you have to know every single thing about your product? Absolutely not. You do not have to know every single thing about your product. Do you have to know everything about the service that you're offering? Absolutely not. Okay? To say you know everything would be to say that you don't need anybody to teach you anything because you have already arrived. And even I don't know everything. And I've been in this industry, as you heard me say before, 29 years, full-time 25 years, and I still don't know it all. I still listen to people. I am still educated every single day by somebody else, okay? Even sometimes children. You'll be surprised at how much you can learn from even your own grandchildren. It is amazing if you open up your mind to the possibilities, and if you're also open to receiving knowledge, and I am. So you want to make sure that you do enough research so that you'll be able to stand on your own 2 feet, you know? And if necessary, if one of us got to step in to help you, such as a person that's leading your group or someone that may be that has sponsored you, whatever the case might be, then hey, so be it. It's a done deal, okay? So you want to be prepared, and you want to make sure that when you are talking to these individuals about your service or your product, you want to make sure that you have earned the right to capture their attention. If you have not done your due diligence, okay, even in their particular case, if you don't know anything about that person, you know, if you don't know anything about, you know, what it is they do or their family, whatever the case might be, then there's nothing in common there. And we'll get into that in just a few. But you want to make sure that you are equipped. So you've earned the right for them to listen to what it is that you're saying. So that's the second point that I wanted to bring out. And then the third one is listen more than you talk. Listen more than you talk. I often tell people, and it's even in my training manual, ask 2 questions. Ask 2 questions that will actually create some dialogue. And ask these questions in a way in which when the person responds, you listen, you have something to listen to attentively. And as you're listening, be of the mindset that I am gathering information so that I can now serve the person that's now responding to my questions. When I sit down with someone, I ask 2 questions. The first question I ask is, what are your health goals? What are your health goals? So if I'm talking to Lynn Gardner for the first time, and I'm talking to her about our phenomenal technology, I may say, Lynn, tell me something. What are your health goals? Health goals? I never thought about health goals. I mean, I'm alive, I got this issue, I got that issue. No, tell me, if you keep doing what you're doing right now, where do you see yourself in the next 3 years? Where do you see yourself in the next 4 years? You want to actually evoke, okay? We call that evocative questioning. You want to actually invoke that person. You want to drag those answers out of them, because when you allow them to answer the questions, what happens is now you have ammunition. So when you do your presentation, you can now tailor your presentation to that person's needs, not your own. Because remember, it's not about you. No 2 presentations should ever be the same, under no circumstances. It should always be about the person that you're talking to. So the next question I'll ask is, what are your financial goals? What are your financial goals? Financial goals, well, I plan on working my job, for the next 30 years. I'm going to retire and I'm going to live happily ever after, Well, if you keep doing what you're doing right now, where do you expect to be when you retire? Where do you see yourself when you retire? Well, I see myself here. And so now not only am I getting them to respond so that I can now give them, offer them the service that I really believe that they need based on what they're saying to me, but now I'm also allowing them to start to dream, to start to look into the future, which is something that many people fail to do. And when they start to dream and look into the future, all of a sudden at the same time, with these 2 simple questions, what are we doing? Not only are we dream building, okay, but this person is starting to actually imagine. Their imagination is starting to open up, it's starting to blossom. And now I'm going to show them through my presentation dedicated to them, for them, how this can become possible if they see it themselves. And my intention would be to have them to see it. So you want to ask questions that's going to allow you to get those answers and not talk so much. Because when you're talking, that means that they're listening. And when they're talking, that means that you're listening. And you want to listen so that you can do a good job at presenting the information for them, to them, for their needs. Be mindful of that. Something else that I thought would be very important too. And once again, I also put a little note here, you're qualifying their needs as well. When you're listening to them, you're literally qualifying their needs. Something else, only share relevant information. I've been to demos and I've been to meetings, and the meeting should have taken about 30 to 45 minutes, the most an hour. And people start talking about stuff that is completely irrelevant to what they're supposed to be talking about. And remember, everything you do, the person is watching you and they're saying to themselves, can I do this? Is this possible? Can I do this? Oh, wow. I see some more people. Hi, Caroline. Hi, Jan. Jill, Kate. Oh, Patricia. What's up, Pat? Nelson Thomas. Welcome, everybody. Jan says, this is such an exciting subject. Thank you, Jan. You are an amazing, amazing person. And thank you for chiming in tonight. So, and Thomas says, thank you for sharing. Absolutely. Thank you guys for chiming in. I appreciate all of you. I do, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. So you want to make sure that you keep the conversation. You know, we don't want to go off on the issue of politics. We don't want to go off on the issue of racism. We don't want to go off on the issue of the economy and healthcare. You know, it's not about that. It really is not about that. Your reasoning for being there is to gather enough information so that you'll be able to tailor the conversation, you'll be able to tailor the presentation to that person's needs. So do not get into all the other stuff. Stick to the point. Remember, you are always closing. That is a distraction. That will cause a delay, okay? A dissuasion. And sometimes it ends up in disaster. People are screaming and yelling. You'll be surprised. I've been there. I've seen it. That's why it's on my list tonight, okay? So you want to make sure that you stick to the point. And then also, something else that I want to bring into this conversation is this. You know, we have some amazing devices with Enagic, right? All of my Enagic family out there listening, we have some amazing devices. Now, even though we know a lot about this technology, it doesn't mean that we have to dissect a SD501 or we have to dissect a K8 in order for someone to understand the value of it. We don't have to do that. We don't have to talk about the plates and we don't have to go into all of the details about the voltage and all of that stuff. We don't. You know, think about when you go in to buy a television or when you go to buy a refrigerator or you go to buy a stove. You know, there's a few basic things that you have on your list that you're looking for. And you stick to that. And as a result, you go in, you get what it is you're looking for. Suppose the salesperson came up to you and kept you there for 2 hours explaining the refrigerator to you. Explaining. A lot of times we talk people into it, then we talk them out. We talk them back into it again, then we talk them out. We don't want to do that. We want to be closing from the beginning. So stick to the point. And just because you know it, don't mean that everybody else got to know that you know all that you know that night, that day, that morning. It is not that important, as it is important for them to be drinking the water or for them to be using the service or buying the house or whatever it is that you do, okay? Oh, wow. This is important too. And I learned this the hard way. You want to always, when you are closing and to really get your ratio up, you want to always keep your tank full. I'm not talking about gasoline, okay? I'm not talking about regular, super, diesel. I'm not talking about that. When I say keep your tank full, I'm talking about prospects. So often we get caught up on the same person. We keep talking about the same person. How many people in my organization come to me and say, Tamia, I know she's going to join, and it's year after year after year. You know, there's a saying, you can either live every year like it's golden, right? Every year is a new year, and I'm living my life every year. Or you can live the same year over and over and over again. The same thing applies in our industry. A lot of people, what do? They focus on the same doggone person for years, and you're wasting your time. Listen to me. Usually, when you have to beg someone, you got to beg them. You got to convince them. Okay, you got to keep calling them and emailing them and texting them. Please come to the meeting. Please buy the machine. Please buy the house. Please use the service. And what happens? When they come on your team or when they become your customer, a lot of times they don't use the technology anyway. They don't use the service anyway. Why? Because you had to convince them. They were convinced against their own will. Their opinion didn't change. It's the same. The opinion is the same. They just probably did whatever they did for you so that you could get away from them. And if it meant spending a couple of $1,000s, so be it. And a lot of times when those people join our teams, the same way you had to drag them in, you have to keep dragging them to stay in. And that weight gets heavy on the shoulders. And you'll find that it's simply not worth it. It's simply not worth it. So you want to make sure that you keep your tank full. Always add people. Always add new prospects. Always. And even when you're talking to them, you're closing. I gave the example. We was just in in Vegas a couple of days ago with Fred Brown and Genevieve, two of the sweetest people that I know in the industry of network marketing. In addition to that, I was with them again in Portland, Oregon with Linda Moore and Dan Moore and Lori and quite a few of amazing, Barry too, amazing people out there as well. Just to name a few of them, but you all know who you are. But guys, get this. As I'm there, I was sharing with them some of the things that I do to keep my tank full. You know, for an example, I may be in the line at the bank. And, you know, when I'm in the line at the bank, and I know Yvette will get a kick out of this, there's people in front of me, and then all of a sudden the line keeps getting longer and longer behind me. So I figure, hey, it's time to prospect. So what do? I take out my phone. Hey, how you doing? Nobody's there. Just me and my phone. Hey, how you doing? Get out of here. What? The doctor took you off another medication? Did you tell him what you were doing? Really? So he said, just no matter what you're doing, just keep doing it. Girl, that is amazing. Yeah, I was reading an article this morning about the parasites in the water. I'm so glad we have this wonderful technology. Aren't you glad we have this technology? It is absolutely amazing. Yeah, I'm next. Listen here. What I'll do is I'll call you later. Put my phone down. Me and my phone. I could have a conversation with myself. It's not against the law. And always somebody will come to me and they'll say, excuse me, ma'am, but I wasn't listening to your conversation, but I overheard you talking about parasites in the water, or I heard you somebody say that the doctor said for them to keep doing what they're doing. What was that about? Ma'am, I am in a hurry. I would love to get into detail with you, but I just cannot, because see, I don't want to have a chopped up presentation in the bank. I want to keep my tank full. And when those prospects come out, they have enough information to make a well-informed, educated, intelligent decision. So I don't want them just, I'm going to tell you a little bit now so you can go on the internet and research what you think you're researching. And then you come up with your own solution. And you end up meeting me in the bank 3 years from now, really 1 year from now. And you say, you know what? I think I need to have that conversation with you finally. So what I do is I'm always in a hurry. Okay, always in a hurry, because I do not want to get into it. I don't want to do a chopped up presentation. I want them to get the full presentation. So I tell them, take out your phone. And I have my phone in my hand. Take out your phone. They take it out. And I tell them, dial this number. And they do it, 917. And I give them the rest of the numbers. And then I say, press send. And when they press send, guess what happens? My phone rings. And I said, great, I got your number. Now you have mine. Because I'm in a hurry now, I can't get into detail, but what I'll do is I'll give you a call later and we'll talk about it later. And when I call them back, I say, listen, I know that you heard me say some things and whatnot, but I'd like to get with you. I'd like to show you what it is that I'm talking about, because you may not quite understand it, you know, with having a telephone conversation. So if you want to meet me someplace, if you want me to come over, whatever makes you comfortable, let's just make it happen. My appointment book is out. Hey, I have Tuesday available at 2 o'clock and I have Thursday available at 6 o'clock. Which one works best for you? Remember, take charge. Lead the process. Don't be led. You lead the process. And that's going to help your business to grow. You're always closing. Another thing that I'll do when I want to keep my tank full, I may go to the aisle in Target, the water aisle in Target, or the grocery store, Walmart, Sam's Club, Costco's, wherever the water is, you know? And I go over there and I'm just standing there and somebody will walk up and they'll say, or they'll pick up a real big, like a one of those cases of water. And let's say maybe it's a name brand water. I won't mention it here, but you all know what I'm talking about. You know, there was one that was recalled from the UK, 500,000 bottles. And I may say, excuse me, are you going to drink that? And they say, of course I'm going to drink it. That's why I'm buying it. I'm going to drink it. Really? Well, okay. Well, what's wrong with it? Well, I don't want to get into it. You know, if you're going to drink it, that's what you want to drink, then hey, you do you. But I saw something the other day that blew my mind. So, and they say, well, what is it? Tell me. Listen, I'm in a hurry. Take out your phone. Dial this number, 917, and I give them my number. Press send. They press send, and guess what happens? Their phone rings. You got my number. I got your number. I'll give you a call later. And I do that. Always putting gas in my tank. You want to always have prospects. Don't sit back and wait on somebody that you've been talking to for the past 2, 5, 10 years to join your team. You know, you are in business to be in business. You're not in business to be stagnated, to be stuck. Okay, it's not worth it. So another thing that I put down here, and hopefully you're still taking notes, you want to ask for the sale at least 3 times during the presentation. And I don't mean you say, will you buy for me? Will you please buy for me? I don't mean like that. For example, when I said to you earlier, what are your health goals? What are your financial goals? So for an example, if I say, well, what are your health goals? And they tell me their health goal is to be, you know, more athletic. Maybe they want to get more tone. Maybe they want their BMI to drop, you know. And then as I'm doing the presentation, I say, can you see how, you know, drinking good, healthy water can help you? That's a closing question. And they'll say, yeah, I do. I really see that. And they say their finances, I want to pay off my mortgage, you know, over the next 2 years, or I want to buy another car. And as I'm going through the compensation plan, I may ask them, do you see how this compensation plan can help you to pay off your car, can help you to pay off pay your mortgage off? Can you see how? And I'm nodding yes. And what are they going to do? They're going to nod yes, like some of you are nodding yes right now, right? I mean, so I'm asking them these questions because those are closing questions. We're closing along the way, right? And then at the end of it all, I'll say to them, what did you like most about what you heard? And they'll tell me, what did you like most about what you saw? You know, questions like that. And they'll tell me. And then I'll say to them, do you have any questions for me at this time? Do you have any questions for me at this time? And if I can't answer those questions, I will pick up the phone right then and there, and I will get my sponsor, or I will get someone on the phone that I believe can answer those questions, and literally put that person on speaker if they will allow me to, okay? And then have them see that they can trust me, that I'm not lying to them. I'm not creating an answer because I just want you to buy something, but I am doing my due diligence. I am finding the answer for you. So now as we join hands and we go down the road of, you know, business partners, now you can trust me and I can trust you. You see, it all goes hand in hand. So I'll get their questions answered. And once all of their questions have been answered, I take that application. And as I showed you guys in Oregon and also in Las Vegas, I take my hand, I do like this, and I push it. I slide the application right in front of them. Just like this. Bam. Slide right in front of them. And I say, okay, so you know what? Let's go ahead and get the paperwork out of the way. What name do you want your checks to come in so you can get that mortgage taken care of? We can start working on that right now. Not guaranteeing it. You got to work. Of course, they got to work. But let's start the process right now. You know, what address do you want us to mail that technology to? Because you need to start drinking that water right now. You're talking about changing your water, man. Now is the time. Okay? So what social number, what is your social? Because you want to make sure that you put down the right numbers. And the reason being is you just opened the door to a lot of different tax cuts. Okay, I mean, you forget about it. The gates are just flooded. They're flooded open, especially if you're here in the United States. All right, so I'll start to have them even dreaming more. You know, we'll continue the dreaming portion of it more. And so what if they say, well, to me, I don't have the money. I can't. Listen, if you had the money, would you buy it right now? Yes, I would. Well, forget about the how. Forget about the what. Fill out the paperwork. Fill out the paperwork as though you have the money. And you will be surprised at what happens just out of the blue, to allow you to get that device in the privacy of your home. So, you know, having to fill out the application is a part of closing the sale. You know, I don't have it. Unless they're very adamant. I don't want to fill it out. I don't want to fill it out. Then you can't make anybody do what they don't want to do. Okay? But you can try, because you realize you're not selling somebody something that's a bunch of garbage. You're really helping them to change their life and eventually their lifestyle if they follow your lead. Okay, so you can bank on that one, all right? So that's another one. This one is important too in my notes here. Keep it honest. Always keep it honest and always keep it real. You know, our industry, we get a bad rap sometimes because you got a lot of folk out there just exaggerating. I mean, they just go over the limit, overboard. You know, they got me making $500,000 a month. Okay, they got me living in, you know, in a 10-acre mansion. You know, they got me with cars that I've never even test drove yet. Okay, it's ridiculous. And then when people, when they get to know me, you know, and they ask me the same questions that they asked the person that sponsored them, and they find out that there was a whole lot of exaggeration going on there. You know, that is my future, yes. But right now, I'm still in the imagination mode. I'm still visualizing. I'm still dreaming. I'm still matching my vibration and my frequency. I'm still tuning into the Tamia channel, the same way you're tuning into your channel. So when they find out that this person was dishonest, that don't go over well, y'all. Because now if you couldn't tell me the truth about something that simple, how can I trust you? How can I trust you with my prospects? How can I trust you in my home? You know, my grandmother used to always say, a person that would lie will steal. And a person that will steal, hey, you know the rest. It is what it is. So always under promise and over deliver. Under promise and over deliver. You'll always come on top when you do that. And that's not my words. I don't know where it came from, but I've been using it for years because it just makes sense. Here is another one. And this may not sound too good, but I'm going to say it anyway. Close your mouth. Close your mouth. Once you ask for the sale, smile, you know, make eye contact. What name do you want this to go into? Because you're confident. You know what you're doing. You know that you're helping somebody. You don't have to be nervous. Oh, I don't know. And surprised, you gonna buy it for real? For real? You don't have to be surprised because you know that you built value. And you know that their yes is a solid yes because you built value. So you don't have to worry about it. Be mindful of that, okay? So also, you want to, oh, this is really, really good. Pay attention to what the person that you're talking to is saying. And I went over that earlier, but I really want to I want to step into this. I want to lean into this just a little more. Listen to what they are saying. Because during the presentation, when you're evoking, when you're asking these evocative questions, right? When you allowing them to share with you, you guys are bonding. They're opening up a little bit more, just like a rose starting to blossom, okay? As you get to know each other and as you're sharing and as you're listening, you're going to be learning and you'll be able to use those very words to close that prospect. So you want to learn how to be quiet. You know, there's a saying, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, so that we can listen twice as much and talk less, okay? These ears will get you paid if you learn how to use them. They will get you paid. But if you must be heard, you must talk, then you're going to talk yourself in and you're going to talk yourself out of the sale all the time, over and over and over again. Ask me how I know, because I've done it. I talk, and guess what? I'm not making no sales. What's wrong? Tamia, you talk too much. Learn how to listen. And when I mastered the art of listening, okay, and I'm talking about listening on purpose, listening, attentive listening, it made all the difference in my business, all right? So anyway, you want to, this is very important, and I'm going to conclude with this point here, because I got another portion to this next week, and I'm going to tell you about that in just a moment. Don't get into arguments, you know, learn to agree to disagree. You know, one of the things that I've learned in sales is that my client is always right. Even when I may not agree with them, they are right. And the reason they're right is because they're convinced about how they feel. They are. How many times have you felt like, I am right? I know I'm right about this. I am 100% right about this. And then somebody educated you and you said, you got a point there. You got a point there. You were able to digest that. But when you meet someone, for an example, let's say I met a Mary Kay sales director, because I used to be a Mary Kay sales director. And let me tell you something. Mary Kay sales directors are die hard. They are committed. They are loyal to their company. Okay? So you cannot go up to a Mary Kay sales director, especially a national, and tell them that what they're doing is crazy and it's no good and the product is bad and you know, you shouldn't do this and you should use our beauty water and you can't do that, because you're going to turn them off because they believe what they believe. But when you show them the same way Fred Brown showed me, by allowing this hand to rub onto the beauty water to run on this hand, and then allowing tap water to run on this hand, and then I observe the difference. Now, nobody have to tell me. I'm like, wow, water, no lotion? You got to be kidding me. This is amazing. So now I don't have to say, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. We don't have to argue. We don't have to disagree, you know, verbally disagree. They can be right. Yeah, you know, that Mary Kay, it is a phenomenal company. I mean, I've done it before. I think it's a great company. I got some of my best teachers from that company. But now let me just show you a couple of things here. You know, it's something you might like, and if it's not for you, maybe it's for somebody else. You know, sometimes I'll go through the back door. Just another technique. But I never get into arguments with prospects. You're not going to win, because remember, you're trying to sell them. They didn't come there to sell you. You came to sell them. And if you're making them feel bad about what it is that they're doing, if you're making them, their self-esteem to go down instead of allowing them to stay where they are and even bringing them up even higher, okay? You know, that's another battle to fight, and it's not worth it. It's simply not worth it. I know for me, when folk come to me to talk to me about other companies, and it happens all the time, when they are negative about my company, I shut down. I don't hear anything else they are saying. When they start talking about my CEO and they start talking about my sponsor, they start talking about my uplines, I shut down. Because see, now you're messing with family. You know, you're messing with family because I'm loyal. This is what I know. This is what I'm doing. Until you can prove to me otherwise, you got to come different, and you have to come correct. Be positive. You know, talk about your deal without bashing anybody else's deal. And the same thing for those of us out there, all of us that are Enagic distributors. You may bump into somebody who may have another ionizer on their kitchen counter. Don't talk bad about the ionizer. Just try our water. Try it. You don't have to say anything bad. You don't have to do that. You will catch more flies with honey. Remember, I told you that. You'll catch more flies with honey. Something sweet than something sour. Remember that. And always season your words. Season your words with salt. That's another tip there. So I know it's 10:38, but I got a couple more things I want to share with you real quick. Now, keep in mind that next week, what I want to do, because we're talking about closing tonight, but what I want to do is I want to go into the different techniques of closing, because there's several ways to close. There's different techniques. And because all of us may not do demos, some of us may do a lot of closing over the phone, or we may want to close over the phone. There are several closes out there that I didn't invent. I have one that I'm going to share with you that I like to think that I did, but I'm sure I didn't. I'm sure I didn't, but I want to share it with you guys anyway. So next week, we're going to talk about the techniques of closing, the techniques of closing. But to conclude here, hi, Mickey. Good to see you. Awesome. Indra, Minchie. Oh, Minchie. I don't know if she's still in the Philippines, but I see saying hello, hello. Awesome. Oh, Diane. Oh, thank you so much. All of you. Awesome, awesome. So anyways, I just want to share this with you real quick. one thing that you may want to do too, and I can wrap this up here in about another 5 minutes, just stay with me, guys, is when you're closing, it's always nice to, it may sound a bit, a little bit like cliche, like why, Tamia? Sit down, have a seat, relax your shoulders, breathe nice and easy, smile, be confident. It makes a difference. It really does. When you're standing up, you're in a position of authority. Like, this is what we're going to do. But when you're sitting down, you're in a position of I like to use the word being submissive. Okay? You're not, in a position of authority, and like you're not towering over someone. Now we are eye to eye. Now we're talking. I'm listening. We're sharing dialogue. And when you're sitting, for some reason, I close a lot more people when I'm sitting than when I'm standing. Only time I close when I'm standing is when I'm presenting, pretty much. But even when people bring people to me, I like to be seated while they're standing there asking me questions. I like to be seated and talking to them like that, because I want them to know that you are important. Okay, I'm not so big that I cannot look up to where you're standing, or I cannot look across from where you're sitting. Okay, so keep that in mind, and that's very, very important. Always, even though we can buy machines and sell machines through the internet now, which is great, but always have a contract on hand, a full contract on hand. When you have a contract on hand with the company's logo on it, it makes it real. It makes it solid. Okay, but when you're just talking about it and you expect somebody just to give you a credit card just like that, it's like, wait a minute, you're moving too fast here. But when there's an actual contract, it makes it a bit different. It makes it more real. All right. So be mindful of that too. And communicate effectively, clearly and effectively. Clearly and effectively. Okay. You want to make sure that the person understands what it is that you're saying. And every now and then you may ask them, do you understand? And every now and then you may repeat what they said to you if you're not clear. So what I'm hearing is, so what you're saying is, am I correct by saying that? Am I correct by saying this? And they'll say yes. Would you like to add anything to that? I just want to be clear. So you want to make sure that you're communicating effectively and clearly. Very important. As I said before, make eye contact. The only time I find that people can't look somebody in their eyes is when they have something to hide, or it's something that they don't want the other person to see. Now, I'm talking to all of you out there tonight, and I'm looking directly in the camera. And to some of you, it is as though I'm looking you in your eyes. That's what I do everywhere I go. When I'm talking to someone, I give them my undivided attention. Everybody else, wait a minute. I'm talking to Mickey. I'm talking to Yvette. I'm talking to Minchie. Okay? That's what I'm talking to. Right now, that's what I'm talking to. And so when you're making eye contact, what it is, and there's studies to prove this. Now get this, and you can go out there and you can actually do your own little due diligence. There's studies to prove that when you make eye contact, people can actually see, and especially when you make eye contact and you smile, and your smile is sincere, it's like the energy field can actually sense that you are being sincere. And it can feel that you are being sincere, the same way it can feel that you feel it when you're not. So it may be something that you need to practice. I got better at making eye contact and better at communicating with a person and blocking everything else out when I started to look at myself in the mirror. And that might be an exercise that you may want to do, and we'll talk about that another time. Also, you want to use a little bit of humor. Keep it so serious. Like everything is so serious. Oh, yes, SD501 and has 7 plates, and you have positive electrodes and negative electrodes and the electrons, whatever, and you put it together and blah, 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 blah. And everything is so serious. And no, you want to add some humor to it, make people laugh a little bit. I'm not saying you gotta be hilarious throughout the entire presentation. No, but you want people to be able to let their hair down, to be comfortable when you're talking to them, right? That's what you really, really want. So, and also keep the humor clean. I've heard some jokes that were not, like I said, they were not relevant to the conversation that was actually taking place. Also, too, stay with the buyer. Whenever they're buying, stay with them. I already told you that. I already said that. And the last thing I say is always be positive. Even when the answer is a solid no. It does not mean, you hear the saying, some will, some won't, so what? No, scratch that. Scratch. It's not some will, some won't, so what? What it is some will, some won't right now. Some will the next time. Okay? It don't have to be the end. It could literally be the beginning. Keep them in your gas tank. Feed them information, and you'll be surprised at the same people that you talked to 2 years ago, 3 years ago, because the way you ended the conversation is the reason why they came back to you to buy from you. But when we get upset, oh, my aunt didn't buy the machine for me, I'm not talking to her anymore. I'm not talking to my uncle anymore. Okay? You get so, upset. And what are you doing? You're only hindering your own blessings, and it's not worth it. And guys, so with that being said, listen to me. I know that many of you out there, you're probably saying, well, to me, I'm glad we're talking about this, because maybe this has been a challenge of mine. Maybe you've been struggling with closing. Maybe you haven't closed a sale in the last year, 6 months, or a month. I don't know. But eventually we're gonna go through some numbers, and so you'll learn how to find out what your ratio is. But this is what I want you to know. Never forget that the power, I cannot stress this enough, the power that is breathing you right now, the power that's breathing you right now is bigger than any circumstance, any condition, any situation, any client. It's bigger than that. You can close. You can become the #1 closer in your organization, on your team. You can become the #1 closer in your family. All you have to do is decide. I'm not saying apply all of these techniques overnight, no. But go back, listen to this again. Write down, take some notes, write some stuff down. Go over it again and again and again. Apply one this week. Apply another one next week. Apply another one the third week. And keep applying and applying and applying. It's a process. But once it has been learned, you are on your way. And I know you want to be on your way. So guys, I thank you so much. I know I went over my time, and these 30-minute sessions are turning into 45-minute sessions. But I promise you, I want to try my best to keep it down. But I have so much inside that I want to share, and I care about all of you so much. I want all of us to win. I really, really do. And I know that we can, because the power that breathes us, oh my, is just bigger than all of us. So we have it inside of us. We just have to bring it back to our memory and literally let it go. Let it go. So guys, with that being said, listen, I know that everybody out there is a champion. I want you to take this week, and I want you to take charge, because champions take charge. Once again, my name is Tamia Bethia-Williams, and I am here with you every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Tuesday Night Talking Tea with me, Tamia. And I thank all of you for chiming in. And next time, okay, I'll talk to you Tuesday. Have a great week. Bye-bye.